In this video, I'm going to give you 7 questions to ask before you choose a WordPress theme that you're going to use on your website. And it's perfect for anyone that is building a new website or on the market for a new WordPress theme. I think you're going to find it very helpful. Hi, my name is Adam from WPCrafter.com, where I make WordPress tutorial videos for non-techies. If you're new here, consider clicking on the subscribe button. You're going to be joining 53,000 other subscribers to this channel. If you don't want to miss a thing, click on the bell and YouTube will let you know when I have a new video. You know, my only reason right now for pointing out the 53,000 subscribers is because that says something. You don't just wake up and have your YouTube channel grow to 53,000 subscribers unless you're giving sensible advice. And that is what this video is going to be, a sensible advice for you, things to think about, and 7 questions to ask before you choose a WordPress theme. So let's go ahead and jump on into the video. All right, so here are the 7 questions. However, I want to start with some ground rules, and through the whole video, I'm going to try to go through it a little on the faster side to keep this video fast-paced, but I'm going to be jumping in and out of various WordPress websites with various themes installed on them to show you the differences, which will help you understand the questions and the options that are out there and are available. But I want to start with some ground rules. Number 1, I'm not picking on any one WordPress theme, so don't go attacking me down in the comments section. Number 2, people love their theme, and that's okay. So what might happen here is people that are, they really love the theme that they have, and they will start attacking anyone that might show that there might be a better way. That's okay, but just keep in mind, I'm not picking on any theme. This is more discussion points that I think are helpful for everybody. If you disagree with me, that's okay as well. There's a comment section down below where you can go ahead and put those disagreements down there. And all of the questions are meant to be asked together. So don't just take one of the questions and say, okay, this theme qualifies. They're really meant to be combined, these 7 questions together. So those are the ground rules. Okay, the point of this video is that technology changes. It's 2018 right now. WordPress has been out for, I think, a very long time, 10 years or so, maybe. I think it might be a few years longer than that. And technology changes. So what would have been considered a great cutting edge theme 5 years ago, today doesn't quite meet that standard. And I have an image here to bring that home. Here's a guy with a brick phone. This is actually a very famous picture with this. I think he might have been the inventor of the brick phone. As a matter of fact, embarrassing point, I had a brick phone. Actually, I think I owned all of these phones. And the point of me showing you this is what was great 5 years ago, 10 years ago is not great today. It's not anything that you would use, but the point is it would still work anyway. Now, you might have a theme that you love and it's, was great 5 years ago, but today it still gets the job done. A perfect example of this is the flip phone, and I actually have a flip phone right here. It's an old one. There's a little bit of tape on here to make it still work. But with this phone, I can make phone calls and I can even text message. And with the number pad, I would have to hit a button and do it 2 or 3 times. And the point is this can get the job done, but it's not going to be as smooth and as efficient and as enjoyable as a tool as you might get with an iPhone like this. So I have my iPhone right here. And with my iPhone, I could do everything faster. Heck, I don't even have to type. I can do everything with my voice. And it can do a whole lot more for me. It's a lot more efficient. But the reality is I can get the job done with a flip phone or an iPhone. And that's just an analogy to kind of tie in kind of the basis for this video, is that technology changes. And these are questions to ask today of the theme that you are going to choose if you're looking to change themes or get a new website and choose a new theme to go along with it. So let's just jump on into these questions. Question number 1 is a very basic one. Who is the developer? And asking this question is very important because you want to get an indication of the future of that theme. And you want to know if it's going to be supported and improved for at least 2 to 3 years, because typically you might change your theme every 2 to 3 years. Some people it might be longer, some people it might be shorter, but that's kind of like the average time there. So you want to make sure that you're choosing a theme that is going to be around, is going to be supported, meaning if you need help, there's someone to go to. It's going to be improved, meaning if there's an update to, say, WordPress and something needs to be changed in the theme, are those updates going to be available? And there's a few ways of kind of getting an idea if the theme's going to have a life to it. And that is, you could also look at some current installation numbers. So if you're using a theme or if you're considering a theme that's on the WordPress theme directory, they have active installation numbers, and you can see there how many people are actually using this theme. Is it growing? There's support channels. Are the developers actually responding to support? With ThemeForest themes, I don't typically recommend ThemeForest for themes at all, but you can go there and you can see the sales numbers, and you can get an idea if people are actually buying this, which means, is the developer making money? Is there a business behind this theme? The reason this is important is because a lot of developers for WordPress are just hobbyists. They're going to put something out there. It might not be coded the greatest. There's no real commitment there. You start saying, man, I like this. I want to use this theme. And next thing you know, they're disappeared 6 months later, or they're not making any money from it. So there's no motivation for them to actually help you support it and improve the theme. But the other side of the coin is, just because a theme might have a lot of sales historically doesn't necessarily mean it's going to match up to the other 6 questions that are going to be in this video. And so this next question is a controversial one, and it is the theme bloated? And what a bloated theme means is there's a lot of unnecessary stuff in that theme. And this is actually a very contentious question, and I have received some heat in the past for referring to various themes as bloated themes. So let's try to define what a bloated theme is so that you can identify it. And I'm going to show you an example of what I find to be a bloated theme and a theme that is not bloated. So first, does the theme have features that really should be in a plugin? The reason this is important is because every feature that a theme developer might pack into a theme, you're not going to use. You're not going to have any interest in using. But if it's just shoved in there, you're stuck having that on your website. And every drop of code that is active on your website does contribute to it, WordPress having to load the options for it. And it just adds bloat that isn't necessary. Next is, does the theme require an assortment of proprietary plugins to be installed and activated when you activate the theme? So what happens is you upload your theme, you click on activate, and as soon as it activates, it says, oh, we need to install these 7 or 10 plugins in order for this website to work. And whenever I see that, I'm like, what the heck is this? And a lot of times you might get locked into these plugins for no reason at all. So this is part of what I define as bloat. And here's one that not everybody thinks about, but I think is very, very problematic that people don't consider. It's when your theme adds a bunch of custom post types like a portfolio, frequently asked questions, etc. upon activation. The big problem with that is if you activate the theme and it adds those, and say a portfolio, and you fill it out with a whole bunch of information, and then you stop using that theme in 2 years to switch to something else, guess what? Everything in those custom post types you're not going to get to access or use them anymore because it was locked into the theme. The minute you deactivate the theme, there goes your custom post type. There goes your portfolio that you spent all that time filling out. There goes your frequently asked questions that you spent all that time filling out. So these are these bloated items that get added to a theme, and this is how I define a bloated theme. Let's go ahead and take a look at a bloated theme. So right here is a theme, and it actually, I'm not picking on this theme, and this is the theme that I've gotten the most heat on for some of the comments that I've made, but I'm quantifying them in this video. So Avada happens to be one of the number one, let me back up, the number one selling theme on ThemeForest. And it's not the number one selling theme, that would be the Divi theme, but this is the number one selling theme on ThemeForest. So when we're talking about bloat, let's first take a look right here at the menu items. You can see it adds the portfolio custom post type. So if you stop using the theme, you lose your portfolio items. It has this frequently asked question post type that you don't even get an option to have in here or not. If I have a website where I don't want a portfolio or frequently asked questions, it's just added there for me, whether I actually want that or not. When you go to plugins, there's a variety of plugins that it actually has you install upon activating it. The Fusion Builder, the Fusion Core, Slider Revolution, there's actually other ones that are optional, so it's not all bad. There is some options given here, but it also adds this slider plugin that is bundled into the theme that I'm not really a fan of sliders, but I would be stuck having this because it's kind of bundled into the theme. You don't get any option whether you get it, whether you have it on your WordPress website or not. Now, this doesn't only clutter the admin area of the site, but every little thing here that has to load when you're in the back end of WordPress, that adds a little bit. It might be a tiny bit, but it definitely adds to the back-end admin experience. But for me, it's not really about that as much as just the clutter that's there for things that I will never use. So let's count how many menu items that Avada adds to the back end of WordPress. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then Slider Revolution would be 7, but I think you can deactivate that if you wanted to. That wasn't required, but that is required for some of the demos that it has. So you can see how upon activation of this theme, there's just all this stuff in there, whether you want it or not. Let's just take a look at GeneratePress here, which is one of the themes that I recommend, and it is installed and activated. Let's go ahead and take a look at the plugins. It's just the one plugin, and this was optional. It's their premium package, so it just adds this one plugin here. Let's take a look at OceanWP. So here's OceanWP. Let's take a look at their plugins. They make you install this one plugin right here, and then right here they add this theme option panel. Let's take a look at the Astra theme, which is another theme that I recommend, and you can see here it doesn't add any menu items at all. And then for the plugins, it just has this one right here. This is actually an optional plugin right here that I have installed because I'm going to use it later in the video. It's one of those plugins you just use it and then you can remove it and nothing's left on your website. So this is what I'm talking about when I say a theme is bloated. It's all these things that it adds to the back end of your WordPress website, whether you want it or not. Okay, let's continue on. Next is our third question, and is the theme bundled with a page builder? And the next thing you want to ask, is it a front end or a back end page builder? If you've been on this channel, you already know what a page builder is. If this is your first time experiencing me in a video that I've created, a page builder is what you use to build everything underneath your header, and that's where your logo and menu is, and everything above your footer, and that's where you might have some links at the bottom. Everything in between is typically built with something called the page builder. So you want to see, is the theme bundled with a page builder? And is it a front end or a back end page builder? And the reason this matters is because more so whether it's a front end or a back end page builder, it's going to lead to a slow and frustrating experience actually building a website, and it's going to not slow in the sense that interacting with the tool is slow, but slow. I'm going to demonstrate it here. It's just a very slow and frustrating experience. You're going to see what I mean in a moment. And is there lock-in with that page builder? And what that means is the minute you stop using that page builder, your content is no longer usable. I'll demonstrate that as well. And here's where the big problem is. If your theme is bundled with a page builder, it tends to be what's called a locked ecosystem. So this is opposed to using a page builder that's independent of your theme, where you actually get to choose the one that you prefer. They have flourishing ecosystems of third-party developers making really cool stuff for it. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. So let's jump back into the Avada theme. Now this theme comes bundled with their Fusion Builder, which is a back-end page builder. Now, to go with question 2, this isn't optional. You don't get the choice of page builder. You have to use the page builder that they have you install when you install Avada, okay? And that's going to be this Fusion page builder. So let me show you what the experience is like using a back end page builder like the Fusion page builder. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on the home page here to kind of show you what using a back end page builder is like. And I want you to think of that analogy from the beginning. This would be the example of using a brick phone today or a flip phone today when there is much better tools out there. This is where a theme can really show its age, when there is this forced on you back-end inefficient page builder. Okay, so this is what the visual representation of a page is when you're using a back-end page builder. So this right here is something. This right here is some text, and here's an image, and here is a button and some more text, and this is kind of how it's all broken down, but you don't really get to see how it all looks together. Now, when you're making changes, I don't really see how this is going to look on the front end of my website. I can click on this little icon here, and then I can put some text in, but never do I get to see how it looks on the actual page. So if I wanted to change something, like a simple thing, like maybe the size of the font or maybe the color, this is what you have to do. So I would have to actually, well, here, let me just show you a better example of that. So here's an image. So first of all, I just see a little image here. This is not at all what it looks like on the front end. I can click here, and there's going to be some different options. So this is actually kind of nice, and this kind of ties into you could still get the job done using a back-end page builder. So if I wanted to see what this drop shadow does, I just clicked on that, but I don't get to see what it looks like. The way to see what it looks like, I have to click on Save. Then I have to scroll up, I have to click on Update, and I'm still waiting for the update to go through. And this is on a local machine. If this was on a web hosting account, that could have taken a few more seconds. Then I have to go ahead and open up the page, or if I already had it open, go there and refresh. And then I have to wait for it to all load again, and now I can see, I really don't like how that drop shadow's looking right there. Okay, now let me go back. Let me go back to that element. Let me try a different setting, or maybe turn it off altogether and click Save. Now, what I just did is what you're going to end up having to do with the backend page builder about 1,000 times if you're building, say, a 10-page website, because you're doing that for each element. You're going into the backend, you're changing something, then you're clicking update, then you're going to the front end, then you're clicking on refresh over and over and over and over again to make everything look just right. A perfect way of quantifying the time that this takes. If someone came to me, if you're wanting someone to build a website for you using the Avada theme, and you go to them, and normally using a front-end page builder would be maybe $2,000 to build your website, but because you want to use a theme with a back-end page builder, it will take about double the time to develop. So instead of that website being $2,000, it's now going to cost you 3,500 because the development time just doubled because of all this back and forth saving, updating, because you're never getting a real-time visual representation of what you are building ever. Now, I will cut these guys a little slack. So for the button, at least with the button, I can click on the edit and I can adjust a property for it. So say I want to click on the design here and I wanted to make it pill shaped and maybe add an icon. I can click on save and you see it did kind of update there, but still I'm selecting them and then I still have to hit save and then I have to go back into editing the button. I might not have to go into the front end and then I never see how this button looks in relation to everything else that's around it without scrolling here, clicking on update and going to the front end and doing a refresh. I never get to really see. And so this is why back-end page builders like this can get the job done. Think about the brick phone and the flip phone, except there's much better ways of doing it. But if you choose a theme where the page builder is deeply integrated into it and it's not the best experience building a website, it's going to cost you massive amounts of time, and time equals money. So essentially, there's this constant process of going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, because it's in the back end. You're not seeing a visual representation of what you're actually building. This is opposed to using a front-end page builder. So let me go ahead and add a front-end page builder here to this website. So there's an excellent free front-end page builder. It's the most full-featured free front-end page builder. Holy cow. So let me just do a quick search for it. It's named Elementor. Okay, here it is. You can see it's currently being used on over 700,000 websites. This number goes up by about 100,000 per month right now. So by the time you see this video, it might be over 1 million. I'm going to go ahead and click on install. And this is a completely free front-end page builder. And it just so happens to be the best front-end page builder. And it just so happens to be one of the best page builders there are. So I'm going to go ahead and click on activate. And it's going to go ahead and activate that. So now let me go to a page and let me show you what the difference is. So here is a page. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Edit with Elementor. And then what we're get to see is the design on the right and then the options on the left. And you see everything in real time. So here's some text. So say I might want to change something here. Well, I can just click on it like this and I can start typing to change the text if I wanted to. But say I didn't really like the font. Well, I can go here and I can go to where it says typography and I can just start trying different fonts and I can see it all in real time. So you see how with Avada, with a back-end page builder, it's not Avada based, there's lots of back-end page builders, you don't get this speed of implementation here where I can just go here and I can just choose and see everything visually. If I want to maybe change the font size because I want to get it just right. So I've got this right here and I can get it just exactly the way I want it. I don't have to hit save, go to the front end, hit refresh. I don't have to do any of that. I'm getting to see it as I do it. This is a much better page building, website building experience. And so if I was to say, and I've said this before, that XYZ theme is slow, I'm not just referencing how fast you actually get to see the site on the front end. I'm referencing how long it takes to actually get it right and develop and build. Do you want to get it done in 10 times as fast? Well, a front-end page builder will help you build a website 10 times faster. You can't quote me on that number though. Okay, so the last thing about page builders is what happens when you deactivate it. So with the page builder in this theme, if I go here and I deactivate it, let me show you what happens. Fusion Builder, I'm going to deactivate it, and then I'm going to go to the front end of the website again. And let's see what happens. Okay, it's pulling up. Look at this. It's just a bunch of gibberishy code. Now let's see what happens when I deactivate Elementor right here. I'm going to go to my plugins. I'm going to deactivate it. And I'm going to, okay, submit and deactivate, just deactivate it. I'm going to go here. And then now let's go ahead and take a look at that same page that I was building. I think it was right here, our partners. I'll go ahead and click on view, and you can see there's a lot of my text is still here. I could still use this text. I would want to format it with whatever tool I'm using in the future, but my content is still there. It doesn't look like this. So you can see the difference here. So that is where is it a front end or a back end is an important question to ask. Is there lock-in? Because if it's a back-end page builder, it's going to be a slow and frustrating development experience for you, or if you're hiring someone to build this website for you, for them. Okay, let's continue on and go to question number 4. And this is, where are the theme options? And there are older themes, they're going to be in the back end of WordPress. But a modern theme that is building things the way that WordPress wants you to build them, all of those options are going to be inside of the customizer. So again, you get that visual representation, that instant feedback as you're making changes. And the reason this is important is that same issue with the page builder is it can be a slow and frustrating experience if all the options are in the back end. Okay, so I'm jumping back into this theme right here. I'm going to go to, well, they have a special menu item here for all of their options. And you can see when I click right here, it's going to start showing me those options. And we have all of these different tabs here. But here's the theme options right there. So I'll go ahead and click on it. And you can see there's already a little bit of a delay going on here because I think this theme boasts, I could be wrong, 500 various theme options. Those are a lot of options. But you can see this is what it looks like and the experience is like when the theme has all of the theme options in the back end of WordPress. So I've got layout options here. So say I wanted to tweak this, I would have to change it, save it, do that same thing where I go to the front end and I click on refresh. And I would have to do that for everything, for fonts, for colors, every little setting here. I would have to save it, see if I like it, refresh the front end, see if I like it, then come back here and change it a little more, then go to the front end and see if I like it. It can be that slow and frustrating experience to get the website to look exactly how you'd want it to look. So let's compare it to another theme, and let's compare this to GeneratePress. So what I had to do was install and activate Elementor, and I put a page template in there so you can see what I'm talking about. So when you're using a theme that has all of these theme options in the customizer, this is what that experience is like. You would go to Appearance and then you would click on Customize. And what's going to happen is here on the left, you're going to get all of those standard theme options. But instead of being in the back end, making a slight change, saving it, going to the front end, clicking on refresh for every little thing, you have this experience here in the front end where you can make a change and they're all organized here. Every theme organizes it a little different. So for GeneratePress, we've got layouts, colors, and we've got our typography. It's all right here. If I wanted to change a font, I would go here. If I wanted to change the header font, I can go here and I can change my size, my color, and I would immediately see it. The same goes for all of those various theme options. I have them all right here, and it was all just like the page builder where I can make my change here and I'm going to immediately see it reflected here in the website design. So that is the difference between having a theme that has all those options in the back end of WordPress, which is the old way of doing it. Think the brick phone. And having them all versus having them all in the customizer where it's super fast and efficient and easy to get the design looking exactly the way that you want it to look and to skip that slow and frustrating experience. Okay, but like I said, and I said this very early on, both work. Okay, so this isn't this works and this doesn't work. They both work. It's just how do you want your experience actually building this website to be? So when I talk about that theme is slow, I'm not only referring to the page building experience, I'm also referring to the way it implements these theme options. Okay, so let's look at question number 5. And this question is, does it have the integrations that you may need? And so a couple of these just to get your mind thinking about what these are. An example, great example would be WooCommerce. Does the theme have WooCommerce integration? That's a very popular e-commerce add-on for WordPress. It's almost like the gold standard. Another example would be learning management system integrations. So you would have to have a little forethought to decide what you need in a theme. And then you definitely want the guiding principle to be, does the theme that you're considering have that as an option? Nothing is worse than choosing a theme and then later wanting to add WooCommerce, but it doesn't support WooCommerce. And what's going to happen is let's just say you're going to want to change themes because you're going to have to add a lot of custom styling and custom code just to get it to work right. And it's really not worth it. You want to start out with a theme that has those integrations. A great theme for integrations that has integrations like this is the Astra theme. It's the first theme that I showed you. And the Astra theme has WooCommerce integration. Well, actually, Ocean, all the ones I've showed you today have WooCommerce integration. Some are way better than others, though. So Astra has excellent WooCommerce integration. It also has the only one out of the 3 or the 4 that has learning management system integration. So it's going to look great right out of the box. So that is third-party integrations. The next question actually doesn't apply to everyone. And so if you are someone that is interested in the demos that a theme offers you, you want to ask, are the demos actually practical? Are the demos actually practical and usable? What I mean by that is it filled with editable items where you can easily change text or colors or these editable items? Or is it mostly a bunch of highly photoshopped images that aren't really practical unless you're going to go out and hire a Photoshop designer to make some images for you that would actually fit in it? And this also brings me up to another point. It kind of goes with this, but not really. And that is not choosing a theme that has a distinct style that cannot be changed. So it's what I call style lock-in. A perfect example of this is a theme called the Hestia theme, where it features the material design style. But here's the thing, material design style might be in style a year ago, but today it's actually going away. And next year it's going to be like wearing a fanny pack. So you want to avoid themes that just reminds me of the picture of The Rock, you know, the actor and the wrestler, most popular actor in the world right now. He always shows this picture of him when he was younger and he was wearing a fanny pack. I mean, that's what happens when you have a theme that has this style lock-in. You absolutely want to avoid that because style actually changes. So let's look at some of the demos. I think the theme that excels the most are the Astra theme and the GeneratePress theme for different reasons. And then we'll also take a look at let's take a look at the Avada theme right here. Okay, so for the Avada theme, it's under demos right here, and it shows you a variety of demos. Now, what I think when I look at these is they're mostly images, not actual usable design. It's mostly just images it's actually a subjective thing. That's what I see when I look at it. When I see this, I don't see something that has lots of editable elements to it. It's mostly just a wide variety of images. So right here we have this big image of the world. It's just all images here. All images. So that, as opposed to if we look at Astra, they have this link here that says starter sites, and it's going to pull them up. and you can choose the page builder that you want. And these are highly usable website designs. Like here's one for an author. If I click on quick view, we could see this. So an author, all they'd have to do is change their book image, which they probably already have. And you can see it's a lot of text here and colors that you can easily change yourself. They have really good practical designs here as well. They have some for plumbers where it's very easy to get started. Here's one for a charity, and this is actually completely free. It's a charity one. It's integrated with a plugin called Give for getting donations on your website. So here it is. This color in the background is fully editable and changeable in your page builder. A lot of this is all editable. It's not done in Photoshop at all. These overlays, it's a feature that comes in the page builder that they used to make this. So I find these very usable. And when you look at the various ones here that are available, they're very practical and usable almost right out of the box, just changing a little bit of the text and the colors to match what you're trying to do. Another very useful one is GeneratePress. It's actually very useful, but for a different reason. So if I go to GeneratePress here, let me get out of here so I can show you some of their demos. I find them very practical for developers because they are more style demos where you would just add your own content. So if I go to Appearance and then GeneratePress and then I click Site Library, these are great demos, and they also have them for Beaver Builder or Elementor, the one that you choose. These are more style based, so they don't have all these built out content pages with them. So it's more, they've selected the colors, the fonts, and the style for you. I find these useful for a different reason. But this whole question is a very subjective one, so I don't want to spend much more time in it, but definitely avoid themes that have a strict style lock-in. If you notice from all those demos, they were all very different. So, okay, let's just move on. So we've got question number 7 right here. And 7 is going to be the technical question that we're going to ask. And what is the TTI? And I'm going to explain what that is. It's a technical term, but it's really the most important thing when choosing a theme. It's what the theme directly affects. TTI stands for time to interaction. And so what a lot of people do is they go to this website called GTmetrix, they put in the URL, and then they see how fast the site is, and they get all these scores based on criteria that GTmetrix finds is important. But GTmetrix scores are actually quite meaningless, and they're very gameable, meaning depending on how a theme author has done some tricks to their theme, they can make it show A's. And a perfect example of this is I have tested sites on GTmetrix that have taken 20 seconds to load according to GTmetrix, yet get all A's. Now, think about it. The most important thing is really how fast your website loads for the visitor, because it affects whether they immediately leave your website, you get a high bounce rate, Google's not going to recommend your website as much. There's all these multiple variables going on at the same time. What the theme can control, though, is something called TTI, time to interaction. And this is what matters for themes. So what time to interaction means is when you go to a website, how long does it take to load before you can actually interact with elements on that page, click on buttons, have the various animations you might have, or the things that might move. How long does it take to actually interact with the website? Now, this is a more recent metric, and a lot of people, even if you're a website designer and you're watching this video right now, you might have never heard of TTI, but you're going to start hearing about TTI nonstop over the next 12 to 24 months as tools for testing TTI are released. Google had an update to the Chrome web browser where they said they're using the Chrome web browser to measure TTI now. So you can have a theme that loads just the required stuff to visually see everything, but it requires a few more seconds for it to actually be interactive. And a lot of that is the way that websites are loaded today. They're not just static HTML files where it's really basic. Now there's lots of JavaScript that is required for the interaction. And that's why you have GTmetrix scores that are very gameable. It's not some nefarious thing that a theme developer has done kind of gaming the GTmetrix scores. It's actually good, but you got to see they're under pressure to provide a theme that has a high GTmetrix score because that's all that people are really looking at that are asking them. So they're kind of forced to make it have a high GTmetrix score even though the waterfall and the time to fully load is a lot longer, because for some reason people are just looking at these GTmetrix scores where it's really the time to interaction that matters. Sadly, today there aren't any real website-based tools where you can measure TTI, but you can see how long it feels like till you can actually interact with a website. So I'm going to make a couple theme recommendations, and these have actually been my same theme recommendations for the last 12 months, and I haven't even seen anything come close to these themes for answering and doing really well with all of the questions that I brought up in this video. The first theme, and these are actually in alphabetical order, so I'm not giving preferential treatment to one versus the other. The Astra theme, the cost of this is it's free and it's up to $59 for an unlimited site license. This actually happens to be, full disclosure, the theme that I am using. Next is the GeneratePress theme, which I showed in this video. It is free and you can purchase it for $39, a unlimited site license. Next would be OceanWP, which is free to $129 for an unlimited site license. So I just wanted that to be equivalent to the other prices I'm showing you. But they also sell a single site license for $39. And there's also one that I do want to talk and make some videos about, is the Page Builder Framework. And this is free to $58. It's a younger theme in terms of some of the questions that we went through. It got a yes on all of these questions except some of the integrations need to come, the WooCommerce and some things like that. It's an excellent theme though. A lot of people have had a very good experience, and I wanted to bring that up in this video. I have links to everything in the video description down below. If you found this video in any way valuable, I need your support by giving it a thumbs up, because I'm sure people that are using maybe some of the themes that didn't score too well are going to give it a thumbs down. So if you found any value with it, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If there's anything you disagreed with or wanted more clarification, ask in the comment section down below. In the video description box, I have links to all of these themes. They are what are called referral links. That means if you were to purchase one of these products, I even have it for the Avada theme, which I'll have down there. So I'm an equal opportunity referrer. But what that means is if you did purchase any of them from the links, a small portion of that goes back to support the channel so I can continue making these videos. I have all those links down below. I also put a link down to my transparency report, which shows all the behind the scenes of making these videos, any question that you might have. It's also on my website. You can go there. You'll see the transparency report link. But these are my top recommendations. They are rock solid recommendations. They check off all of the boxes in all of these questions. They are super reliable themes. They are pretty much the best of the best that are out there today. So that's all that I have for you in this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.